Fran said our theme, of course, is what we're thankful for. And that's usually a pretty standard list of important things about health and welfare of our families and community. That's always at the top of the list. But what Eric brought up and what Willow brought up, and even last week's speaker, so this is why it's so redundant. It's one of our real privileges is to be members of this club. Because if you look beside you, to your right, there's somebody that's a very accomplished individual, or they wouldn't be here. And that's, well, maybe except for Dave Blake, but everybody in this club makes everybody else better. We're going to find that out a little later today. I think our main speaker is a fellow Rotarian. Yeah, sure. So I'm going to put that at the top of the list for today. Appreciate your fellow Rotarians. They make us all better. And that leads into my invocation. And for my invocation, I'm just going to do my favorite Bible verse. It's Paul's letter to the Philippians. And he started out, fellow brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure. I see some of you are reading along with me. Whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report. If there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. The pledge.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to do the four-way test, but I said something to Eric a couple of weeks ago. Us we old timers in the club, there's no comma before under God. And we've been for years, this club always said one nation under God. Then our new members came in and they put a comma in there. One nation under God. And so half of us were saying one nation under God, half of us were saying one nation under God. There is no comma. I wanted to get up here and say that for months. And the four-way test.
If it is true, it is fair to all concerned. Will it build goodwill, better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you, Tom. And thanks for that's Tom Fletcher, punctuation police today. That's good. Thanks for those words, Tom. And Paul, our guest, please.
We've got one guest today of Rob Leroy, Maria Waltendorf. I'm just going to make my announcement real quick. I'm going to start calling this week all the people that have signed up for bell ringing in the last 2 years. So just going by that sign-up sheet. But if anybody else wants to participate that's maybe not on that sheet, please give me a call or shoot me an email. Thanks.
Awesome. Again, that's coming up on December 11th. How many have you, who rang bells last year? All right. Paul, this is a pretty good number of people who didn't ring bells last year that we can help get them to do that. Awesome. Okay. And again, I want to thank everyone online. Let's see what we got here. We've got, of course, Laura and Carl visiting us as our speakers, and Laura's actually on from the Dominican Republic. And we'll let Carl, I think he's in Florida. Deb, Garrick, who was the iPhone 1? Did I miss that? And I know that Vince is iPhone 3, Jessica Burbrink, Paul Gardner, Steve Rakonen, at least I think that's Rakonen, Tina Weldy, Tom Neat, thanks for being there. I am not two places at once. This is actually the phone in my pocket. Always fun. Okay, Sorry, everyone, for being muted there for the first couple minutes as well. All right, if you have announcements, please come forward with those. I've got a few just to get us started off. Just remember that it's Foundation Month for Rotary, and I have some of these last week, and if you would like them, they are the instruction sheets on how to give to the Rotary Foundation for matching points. So there's a great offer through our district 6540 right now. They're actually doing matched dollar for dollar or point for dollar for points. So if you would like one of these, I sent it out on the email on Friday, but if you want one of these physically, you can have this as well. Just a heads up, I was really happy at the board meeting on Friday. The membership committee proposed Jameson Sarnecki, who had applied. Jameson is the superintendent of the Elkhart, city of Elkhart Parks and Rec, and the board approved that. And so we begin our 1-week comment period. If you have anything to say about Jameson, let me know about it. But otherwise, we'll be really excited to induct him as a new member in our club. Just a quick reminder from Terry and Stan, there is still time to get your drawing for the Super Bowl. You can win some prizes, you can win a trip, but see Stan or Terry if you would like those. And I think the drawing is actually on Sunday, December 12th, so there's some extra time for that. Upcoming programs this Thursday. If you want to see something really cool, Christy Dunn from the History Museum in South Bend is actually going to be presenting about the history of the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League and the South Bend Blue Sox. That should be a pretty cool program. So if you want to check that out, join us on Thursday morning at the morning division, 7 o'clock at the Elkhart Health and Aquatic Center. It's easy. You walk in, wear a mask, bring your coffee. It's okay, but it'll be a great program. New division, next Monday, we've got Tim Wesco. He's the state representative for our district, and he's going to talk about redistricting and election safety. So please come with questions if you have them for Tim. That should be an interesting meeting. Let's see. I'm just going to make a quick plug for 5th Monday Fun Day, November 29th. Stay tuned for more information, but make sure Monday evening, November 29th is on your calendar. We're going to have some fun that night. And let's see, restaurant fundraising. Hope that wasn't Pete for December 10th.
I got another one.
Good. And as Paul mentioned, we got bell ringing on Saturday, December 11th. All right, now others, please come up.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. So first of all, I want to say thank you to those that have volunteered when I come around and ask you to lead invocation. Thank you, Tom, for today. That was awesome. And I'm glad you got to get up here and speak your mind about that, Tom. Okay, it's a great platform. So I do have invocation leaders already lined up for November and December, so I'm praising God for that. I am working on January and February of next year. So first of all, I just want to recognize you. If you have led invocation so far in this Rotary year, then please stand up. If you have led an invocation, thank you. Don't be shy. All right, very good. So now those of you that are sitting down, then you'll see that I'll come around and be talking to you. So don't run when you see me. All right. One more thing on behalf of the CARE committee. Remember, I've talked to you about things that we want to point out, not just necessarily if somebody is sick or hurting or, heaven forbid, passing away. But last week, we all know that it was Veterans Day on Thursday, and it was also the Marines' 246th birthday last week. I know there was a birthday ball here at the Matterhorn, and my grandson, who is a new Marine in Elkhart County, he got to participate in that ball, and it is honorary for the oldest Marine that is there to cut the cake and then serve it to the youngest Marine. So you'll be happy to know he's actually the youngest Marine out of Elkhart County right now. So very proud of him. But for all of our military, if you served in the service at all, would you please stand? For any branch of the service. Stand here for a second. This is your exercise part of the class. Also, if you are a spouse or a parent or a child of anyone who served in the military, would you please stand? Thank you. Give everybody a hand. Because it honestly is not just the veterans who served, but it is also their families who sacrificed whenever someone is in the military, when their family is away from them. So just a couple of points about our soldiers or our military. They have nobly fought to protect freedom since our country's birth, and have fought to protect those that could not protect themselves, even in foreign lands when called upon. They fought for a country with justice to give us freedom. They have fallen and gotten right back up and kept pushing forward. They have struggled, but didn't ever stop. And when things got tough, they didn't stop or give up. One day, we will be able to join all of those who have fought for us in the fight for freedom. We may struggle, and we can learn from them that we don't stop. We keep pushing through the tough times, and Lord knows we've had some of those in the last couple of years. If you think that a day has gotten worse or it's close to as tough as yours is ever going to get, remember those people who fought the good fight for our country. They are our true heroes. Thank you to everyone who has served.
All right, just a reminder that this Thursday is Thirsty Thursday. We will meet at Artisan at about 5 o'clock for some informal fellowship. You're all welcome. Bring a guest and maybe even bring a potential member. I'll also add that although I'm not the sergeant today, Tom, on behalf of the Sergeant Committee, I'd like to thank you for your commentary.
I sent out an email, I think on Friday. I am looking for more members to join our marketing committee, and you do not have to have a marketing background. There's a lot going on at Rotary, and it's just trying to keep everybody in the loop. There's also things that we can post on social media, even things like our Zoom meeting, that's also done by the marketing committee, so just helping out in any way. So if you are interested in helping out and plugging in, or if you're not involved in a committee and you need to plug in, I invite you to join ours. Just hit me up after the meeting today.
And again, for our 5th Monday, I will disclose the #1 spot where we are eyeballing for our open mic night. It is the 5-Star Dive Bar. So if any of you have been there, there's this private comedy club downstairs that we're hoping to secure and make sure we're just finalizing the details as far as food, if they need a pre-order from us, things like that. So that is where we're looking to gather together, let our hair down, just be people together, have a little bit of fun. You do not have to participate in the open mic night. For those of you who are online, if you are coming, can you just put in the chat that you're planning on being there, because you're not here to sign the sheet that we have going around. And I will pass this around for those who maybe weren't here last week. We're just looking to get a head count too, so that we can let them know, how many burgers and amazing fried food or salads we're going to be ordering from them. So I'll pass this around. Question, yes.
Is that plus gas, or is it just order?
Yep, there's a place here to put a +1. Yeah, or plus many. I'm hoping to bring about 5 potential members, because I think it's super fun to just be human together and for them to get to meet you guys and ladies. And so, yeah, let us know. Great. Thank you. iPhone is coming. Oh, no. iPhone is Howard.
Yes.
Oh, okay. You knew that. All right. I thought you were saying you're coming, Howard, but that's fine. So if you're online and you want to come, just put it in the chat and Eric or somebody will save that for me. Thank you.
Tom, this is you. $20. This routine I've used the last couple of years. Many of you already know what's coming. But I've been real pleased this year, the number of you that have come to me and indicated you wanted to give me the $20 real early, and already started the bucket for those of you that contributed the last couple of weeks. In a couple of weeks, it's Thanksgiving. This is the time for the Salvation Army, the Matterhorn, Kurt Janowski, and Rotary to provide a Thanksgiving meal for the people of Elkhart. A little history of this event is as follows. For many years, the Salvation Army had provided for this meal at their headquarters on Main Street. Then Kurt suggested moving this annual meal to the Matterhorn. At the old location, only about 400 people could be served. Kurt wanted to expand this number, and the first year we served about 900, and later the numbers swelled to 1,500. 1,500 people requires a lot of turkeys. That's where Rotary comes into the picture. Rotary joined the Matterhorn Salvation Army partnership by collecting money for the turkeys. Last year, we provided enough money to fund approximately 70 turkeys. You can do the math if you want to calculate how much money we raised. 70 turkeys at $20 a piece. So today I'm asking each of you to donate a turkey for the annual Salvation Army Thanksgiving dinner. I recognize that most of you will now want to go out and purchase a turkey. Therefore, I'll be happy to accept your $20 bill or more, which is equivalent to the cost of a 20-pound turkey if you go into the grocery store today. If you make out a check, please make the payee the Matterhorn. But recognizing that some of you want to put another name on there, I suggest that you put Matterhorn or Salvation Army on your check. For those of you watching on the internet video, send your check to Rotary Club of Elkhart, which is where you send your bill. Post Office Box 933, Elkhart, Indiana. Okay, please place your $20 bill in circulating bucket. And I'll let you know this, because of COVID restrictions, the event will not be a sit-down dinner here at the Matterhorn. It will be a drive-through pickup, the same as we did last year. And most of the work will be handled by the Matterhorn staff. So I want your $20 bill. We need to fund at least 70 turkeys. So thank you. No, the Matterhorn staff is going to donate their time.
Thank you, Dave. So again, online, if you want to put a check in the mail to our PO box, that would be great. Or designate it as such online if you want to make that payment. Okay, each year we give away a bunch of money to not-for-profits locally in the community. To help facilitate that, we raise a little bit of money. And today I would love to see Dave Diger come up here and help raise some funds.
Yeah. Thanks for that nice, warm Rotary welcome. Before we get started, let's talk about money. It is the Salvation Army week or month, 2 months here, so be generous. If you put in $5, which we would normally do, we missed last week, put in 10. If you missed 2 weeks, put in 15. If you're feeling guilty about something, put in 20 and you'll feel a whole lot better about yourself. So just take a moment for our people who cannot live for 1 hour without their cell phones. If you want to take a minute to answer them, don't even bother, I'll tell you what's there. You know, there's a guy that's worried about your warranty on your cars running out, so you want to take care of that. And you also won the Nigerian lottery for $1 million. And if you just send $1,000 in iTunes cards, they'll send you that check right back. And last but not least, your Social Security account has been locked. So you want to take care of that when you leave. Anybody phone ring during the meeting the last couple weeks, months? Has anybody's phone ever rang during the meeting? All right, we don't have an honest person in the room. But there we are, Susan, thank you. But what I'm thinking with these new electric cars that we have that drive themselves, and with your smartphone, if you leave your phone in the car, maybe you can have a meaningful conversation with your car while you're in the meeting. So there's all the more reason to leave your phone in the car. I'd like to take a minute to acknowledge a couple special Rotarians who don't happen to be here, but anyway, one of them is Doug Putman. I don't know if you know this or not, but on December 1st, Doug Putman will turn 98. I'm 78, and he looks a hell of a lot better than I do. In fact, I love sitting with Doug. He always comes in dressed to the nines. Great guy to have a conversation with, but I'm going to have to change the table because last week I heard a guy on the other side ask somebody, in fact, I think he was asking Dave Lehman, now which one's 98? I'm not going to do that one anymore. And the other one is Pete McCowan, and I don't think Pete's here. I think what a hell of a job they've done at the Elkhart Community Foundation. I shouldn't say that. I'll say a heck of a job that he's done at the Elkhart. They had a 30% return on their investment. It's in the paper. It's been in the paper, and I think it's sure. Okay, Lehman, what did you do with my paper? Anyway, $412 million, I believe, now in the foundation. They collected $25 million this year, additional money. They gave away approximately $25 million. And they had a 30% return on their investment. I think he put it all in Bitcoin, like I told him. Anyway, great job. Great job. Not just by Pete, but certainly by his whole. He'd be the first to say his whole team did it. But what an advantage to our community and what a great asset they are. Anyway, I attended my 60th high school class reunion recently. And if you remember back when you're in high school, there was always one girl that probably matured a little faster than the others, and the boys just couldn't keep their eyes off of them. They don't look like that at the 60th class. It's a tough crowd. I heard one of the other girls say that the only way she'll ever have a hot body again is if they cremate her when she dies. These are the same mean kids you had at school, you know. And it didn't stop there. Somebody asked me, he said, Tiger, when you start chewing tobacco? I said, I don't chew tobacco. Why do you say that? Well, you got that big lump in your cheek. I said, that's not a lump, that is my cheek. My face slid down when my hair went back. It's a tough crowd out there. Anyway, there's always one optimist in the crowd. This was one gal said, well, no, I really don't mind the aging process so bad, because I can now get a mammogram and a pedicure at the same time. You have to think that one over a little bit. Anyway, speaking speaking of education, listen to this. We voted no recently on a lot of these referendums, and you know, perception is everything. And I don't think we want the perception to be that we don't support education. But I'll tell you the reason we need good teachers. If you let me tell you the results of a test. Do I leave my glasses on the table?
Yes. Is that a memory test?
Yeah. Yeah. This test was given to sixth graders. It says, in what battle did Napoleon die? The answer was the last one. In what state does the St. Johns River flow? The answer was liquid. Where was the Declaration of the Independence signed? The answer is at the bottom of the page. What is the main reason for divorce? Marriage. So, you know, we got some kids that need a little bit of work. You know, the other thing, I don't know if you saw it in the news recently, but the United States issued a passport to wasn't a male, it wasn't a female, it was, they wanted X on the gender. So they issued it that way. So the guys, I said guy, gal, whoever it was, but it really doesn't seem that hard. I mean, if you don't know what gender are, you shouldn't have a passport to start with. And can't you figure it out by just looking down? Okay, maybe not. The other thing I heard is, I'm sure many of you heard from Nick Faldo. Nick was a professional golfer and he's an announcer and very popular guy. Nick has a attachment. He likes young women. And recently, been some years ago, he left his wife to marry his kid's nanny. So NBC announced this year that Nick would not be doing the Masters. He needs to be off for the birth of his third wife. And finally, being a proud graduate of Rotary Rehab, I've made arrangements for our future sergeants to have their funny bone adjusted. Thank you.
Nice job, Dave. That was good. We appreciate that. All right, on to today's presentation. I would like to welcome Ashley Bowen up to introduce today's speaker. And we're doing this low tech. I'm going to jump in and make that happen as soon as you're ready.
Perfect. And before I introduce our speakers today, I'd like to say thank you to Doug Grisser for helping to set this up and make the connection. So today we actually have two speakers with us. We have Carl Dickerson, who is a fellow Rotarian and founder of Dickerson Literacy Initiatives. He has been involved in literacy initiatives for over 25 years. He is currently working on projects with Costa Rica, Honduras, and Dominican Republic that we are going to hear about today. His organization takes on projects from encouraging the love of reading to creating sustainable reading proficiency in schools. And joining him today is Laura Sundquist, who has a history with the Peace Corps spanning back 18 years to 2003, when she began development of educational projects in supporting local residents within her community and Peace Corps volunteers. Since 2016, she has worked full-time as the Education Program Director of the Peace Corps office in the Dominican Republic, which is where she'll be joining us from today. She has helped leverage partnerships with Rotary International and USAID to receive over 20,000 books for schools and communities where Peace Corps volunteers serve. So please help me in welcoming Carl and Laura.
We're going to get them pointed up here, and Laura has the ability to share screens. You two can unmute yourself. Oops. Andy, will you help out with the spotlighting, or will they do that?
Spotlight yourself.
Oh, here, I got it. $3.
We ready?
We are hearing you.
Perfect. Thank you for the opportunity, the introduction, and it's the delight to be with you today, joining you by virtually. I'm in Orange Beach, Alabama, so appreciative of Laura being able to join from the Dominican Republic. I'd like to share just briefly an overview of how I became involved with literacy, especially as it relates to Rotary and Peace Corps. I have a second home in Costa Rica and an honorary member of the San Jose Rotary Club. And we had been very, very involved with literacy projects in Costa Rica, where we were establishing libraries and schools and community libraries. And over the years, a number of the communities that received those libraries were communities that were served by Peace Corps volunteers. And over time, by word of mouth, the Peace Corps volunteers began making requests to the Rotary Club there in Costa Rica, if they could be included in these libraries, that it was making an impact in the community and was certainly helping them in their area of service. One of my best friends was district governor in Costa Rica, and he had invited me to his district conference, and I was in Costa Rica for that. And Tom Gromley, who was the past president of the San Jose Rotary Club, was staying with me. It so happened Tom went to Costa Rica originally in the 1980s as a Peace Corps volunteer. And he calls himself, instead of a returned Peace Corps volunteer, remaining Peace Corps volunteer. He remained in Costa Rica and made that his home. And he was staying with me, and we were visiting actually on the balcony during that conference about the number of Peace Corps volunteers that were making requests to the Rotary Club to be included in these literacy projects. And it happened that the day we were discussing that, a news article came across Rotary Network saying that Rotary and Peace Corps had signed a one-year memorandum of understanding to work together collaboratively where Rotary and Peace Corps were serving in the same country. And Tom came up with a brilliant idea, which I thought was brilliant. He said, why don't we reach out to the Rotary clubs in the hometowns of the ones who were making requests and ask if they would sponsor the literacy project for the community of the Peace Corps volunteer. And it so happened that one of the first volunteers that reached out following that was a young man named Luke Woodworth. And Luke so happened, well, I called Luke as my custom and visited with him on the phone following his request. And one of my questions to him was, do you know anyone in Rotary? And he said, well, my mom is actually the president of the Goshen Rotary Club. I said, bingo. So I reached out to the Goshen Rotary Club, and in my reaching out, actually made contact with Sharon Risser. And Sharon invited me to their home where I met she and Doug, and I came and presented a program to the Goshen Rotary Club, which was well received, and they decided to sponsor a literacy project in the community where Luke and Brittany were serving. It was one of the first Rotary Peace Corps projects after the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding. Between 2015 and 2017, when there was the first Rotary Peace Corps gathering in Denver, there were 30 Rotary clubs and 2 Rotaract clubs that partnered with Costa Rica Rotary clubs to sponsor projects that benefited 55 Peace Corps volunteers, which kind of blew us away. I noticed that the invocation, your speaker quoted a verse from Paul. My grandmother gave me a Bible and underlined another verse from Paul that said, God would do exceedingly abundantly above all you could ever imagine or ask. And this was something that was beyond anything we could have anticipated, expected, imagined, or asked for. 30 Rotary clubs in a 2-year span, partnering with Costa Rica Rotary clubs to support literacy projects that benefited communities where 55 Peace Corps volunteers were serving. On my Facebook page yesterday, a memory came up from 2015. It was a memory of Doug Risser, one of your members, in Costa Rica preparing libraries for 18 schools with with Peace Corps volunteers. And so when we presented that at the Rotary Peace Corps gathering in 2017 in Denver, Colorado, one of the members there was a Rotarian who was also a returned Peace Corps volunteer who had served in the Dominican Republic. His name was Ross Feeser. After the presentation, Ross came and asked if there was any way we could do this type of project in the Dominican Republic. It so happened we were planning a trip to Costa Rica, and I said, Ross, why don't you come with us, see what we're doing, and if it resonates with you, we'll explore the Dominican Republic. And so Ross went on the trip, was excited about it, and said, yes, let's please see if we can do this. So Ross and I planned a trip to the Dominican Republic where we met Laura and other Peace Corps staff and also Rotarians. And it was determined that we would proceed and have a literacy project between Rotary and Peace Corps in the Dominican Republic. And I believe that the project was extremely successful. We shipped a container of books, I think close to 19,000 books, established small libraries in at least 65 schools that were served by Peace Corps volunteers. And I want to pass the baton over to Laura and let her share with you the impact that Rotary Peace Corps project made in the Dominican Republic. Laura?
Right. Thank you, everybody, for having me. Just to mention, my father is a very active Rotary member in the Escondido, California club. So it's always a pleasure to attend Rotary and see all of you. Thank you, Carl, for the wonderful introduction. I am very happy to be asked to join this meeting in 2018, in early 2018, when I met Carl and Ross. They had this amazing idea, and we knew we wanted to get on it right away because we have a very large, currently have a large education project. However, we don't have volunteers currently as they were all evacuated in the 2020 COVID evacuation. But at that time, we probably had about 100 education volunteers that work in primary schools and do Spanish literacy. We are the only Peace Corps project in the world that only does Spanish literacy. So when he let us know that were looking for books, it was like a dream come true for the volunteers who are working directly with students and teachers and families to incorporate more books in their education. So we were able to get these books into the hands of these students. You can see some of these pictures here. And as volunteers, they're in these schools with very few resources with kids' books that are actually enjoyable to read. There's a lot of textbooks, but when you're 6, 7, 8 years old, textbooks are not something that is of interest. So here are a few pictures of the volunteers and their staff, their students. We had an incredible selection of books that we got, of big books. You'll see small books, leveled books, very appropriate for the children. And you'll see this is about each school received about 200 books. And you'll see this is more or less about what the little library will look like in the schools. So as mentioned before, the volunteers really commented that their job as literacy specialists became so much more enjoyable once they were able to actually have some resources to work with. And students also were much more excited and interested in reading once they saw the books and how fun they were. I think I'll pass it back to you, Carl, or if there's any questions. You're on mute. Yep.
Am I muted now?
No, just
You're muted again.
After the project was completed, both Ross and I made separate trips back to the Dominican Republic, where Laura and the staff were so kind to take us to schools where we could see for ourselves the impact of the donation and see the materials being put into practice and use, and ask if there was a continued need, which of course there is, and we determined that we would do a follow-up project. So what we would like to do and are planning to do is send more books in Spanish down to the Dominican Republic. We sent a container previously, which required more logistics and trying to receive a full container and find storage. So that we made a determination that we would send pallets instead of a container. And by doing so, we'll be able to ship the books directly to the Peace Corps office, where the staff and volunteers will be able to unpack them and put them into sets and deliver them to the schools. Laura shared with me last week how excited she was that the Dominican Republic is scheduled to be one of the first countries to receive volunteers. You might want to address that, Laura.
Sure, yeah. So we're very hopeful. This country has done very well with vaccines and is really doing well as best they can in the fight against COVID. And so we're really hopeful that we'll get volunteers early next year if all continues to go as planned. And we will be getting volunteers, which will need, once again, some resources to do their work of literacy specialists. So we know that the kids were not in school here for 18 months and the reading levels are very low. So there is more than ever a need for books for kids to get back on track and for hopefully preventing younger kids from being left behind. So we are really looking forward to having another donation and look forward to continuing this great partnership.
And just one final word, and we'll open it up for questions, is what we learned from the very beginning with Luke and Brittany and the volunteers in Costa Rica and then the Dominican Republic. As Rotarians, when we are doing projects such as this, we realize that the materials that we were donating were put to very good use. We knew that with the Peace Corps volunteers utilizing these materials and the work that they're doing, we knew that the donation and that work would be extremely well used. And we felt great about that. Also, we saw firsthand the impact it made for the Peace Corps volunteers. These volunteers, many of whom are young, are working hard in the community, and it gave them the resources they needed to be successful in their work. It also, when a volunteer goes into the community, they're often only there 2 years, and it takes time to establish the projects. And so when Rotary came in and had these projects in the community, literacy that supported their work, it made those volunteers work so much easier. And in the communities in the Dominican Republic and in Costa Rica, the school is the heart of the community. And so when you're doing a project that benefits the school and the education of the children, it opens so many more doors for the Peace Corps volunteers because now they've had, because of the partnership and collaboration with Rotary, a successful project in their community, which it's hard to imagine the effectiveness and the impact that makes in that community, and the doors then which are open for the volunteers in their other work. So it's marvelous in every way, and I'm very proud of that Rotary has this official collaboration with Peace Corps, and I think it's an amazing collaboration, and I've been honored to be a part of it, and I just would like to open it up to questions now, so we have time for that.
And I will relay questions. Yes.
How are the books selected and sourced?
How are the books selected and sourced?
Okay, I'm very involved in that, working collaborative with Laura. We have books that have already been approved that align with the curriculum and with their needs. That was one of the reasons we went in person prior to the project, and then an in-person follow-up meeting to make sure what we were donating was beneficial. So everything that will be sent will be pre-approved by Laura and her staff in the Ministry of Education.
And I'll say, by the way, that question came from the head of the library here in
Excellent question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Is there a replacement strategy as far as books getting worn out or used up?
Not sure if you heard that, but is there a strategy for replacement of books over time if they get worn or used or damaged?
We would like to continue the project as often as we have sponsorship. Books do have normal wear and tear with use. And Laura, you'd like to comment on that?
Yeah, we usually have volunteers serve 2 years in that community, and then we put another volunteer to kind of continue the sustainability of the project. So we usually do about 3 generations of volunteers. So that's about 6 years. So yeah, we would love books. Like Carl said, we try to get them to the kids to use them. So after 2 years, we would love another selection.
I can say that the ones that we've selected already, we do have some of the level readers that were highly effective and popular. Those are paperback, but the rest of the books that we already have pre-selected are library bound, which has, as you know, a great binding, which we believe will last longer.
Makes them more durable. Yes, Jim.
How is the project funded?
How is the project funded?
The project is funded through donations from Rotary clubs and individuals, and there's some return Peace Corps volunteer organizations that are sponsoring. But the funding comes through the generosity of Rotary. I think with the first project, it was a district international grant. So there were some return volunteers who made personal donations into that, which of course was generously matched by Rotary. The magic of Rotary funding is great. And I can say, I'd like to say this, I'm very proud of that, is that because we've been doing this so long, we have excellent relationship with sellers and resellers, wholesalers of books, and are able to obtain these at somewhere between 1/3 and 1/2 list price, which is about unheard of with Spanish language books. They're typically very expensive, which makes the funding go a long way.
That's great. Any other questions? Any questions from online? I'm not seeing any there. Well, very good. I really appreciate you being here today. And thank you.
Thank you very much.
I hope you could hear that. That was
Thank you.
about 60 people in the room that really appreciate it. So, and I'll ask. I want to say too, and Carl shared this with me, but his son was married yesterday, and so congratulations, Carl. We appreciate you sparing the time today.
Oh, we're riding on cloud 9. It was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Very good. And Laura, thank you for joining us all the way from the Dominican Republic. What's the weather like where you're at today?
Oh, very tropical, like always.
Yeah. When we were testing with Laura, she was sitting outside, and I think just out of spite, we had her go inside, so we told her that so we could tell her to get a better signal for internet. So she obliged and is now inside. So Laura, Carl, thank you so much for being there today. Ashley, thank you again for coordinating, and Doug Risser, who's not here. We really appreciate this program coming together. So thank you all very, very much.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks. Take care, everyone.
Thanks a lot. So with that, everyone, I just want to point out there are a few extra box lunches and salads and goodies over there. Please make those disappear. To all those online, thanks for joining us today. Go out and have a great rest of your Rotary week, and thanks for making our community a better place to live, work, and play. Rotary's adjourned.